Back, boxing fans. So tonight is the night. Obviously, the big card from Saudi Arabia is starting. It's going to be a tough one. The Saudi Arabian time schedule is going to be killer. Same as the UK. I'm going to be up all night. Jesus, I think I'm going to have to take a nap and then wake up and catch the end of it. Especially since I did tell you guys that I was going to go live. We will see how that works out if I'm still awake. You know, old age, we have to go to bed early. So it's ironic because apparently 90% of my videos are all on so-and-so and who's in who and what's in what. But it's ironic because if you go look at 90% of my content on this new channel, you'll find that primarily all it talks about is boxing. Literally, that's all. But one person who doesn't do that is John Boxing. He recently came out with a video shitting on Ryan Garcia's mental health issues, right? And you know, going in on him, which he's done before. He went in on Ryan Garcia's mental health issues after the Luke Campbell fight. And obviously he's done the same thing with Tyson Fury for a long time. The irony in this situation is he literally came to the defense of Charlo. So all I did was point out this hypocrisy. If you don't care about mental health, that's fine. Kind of like I don't care about PEDs. So you don't need to care about mental health. But if that's your stance, then it should be your stance. You shouldn't be cherry picking based on race. But that's, of course, what John does and has always done. He's always cherry picked on race. So now he comes out with this video, Ryan Garcia and Jamal Charlo's mental situation. Mental situation. You mean mental health situation? One is fake. One is fake. So all of a sudden, John is an expert in mental health issues. And that may be true because John does seem like he's mental. So, you know, he may have far more knowledge on mental health issues than me. But in Canada, I literally worked in the mental health industry, working for the Ministry of British Columbia. So, you know, I think I probably have more of a foundation on mental health issues than John does. And the irony is one person actually came on, one of John's followers, and accused me saying, well, didn't you criticize Adrian Broner with his mental health issues? No, actually I didn't. I never question and criticize somebody's mental health issues because I've worked in the industry. I understand how fragile people's psyche are. It's ironic that, you know, of course, because of social media, we see far more of it today. But as I pointed out the other day, it's not something that's new. Mike Tyson was diagnosed as bipolar. That was a big issue. We had, obviously, what's his face? The heavyweight guy, why I can't really think of his name now, who literally cried in the ring. I mean, we've had tons of guys go through mental health issues in the world of sports, not just boxing. So, you know, the irony is, I haven't really talked about Ryan Garcia's situation. I didn't really talk about Tyson Fury's situation. I didn't really talk about Charlo's situation. I didn't really talk about Broner's situation because it's irrelevant to boxing, right? If we want to say that Wilder fighting Fury coming off of mental health issues was a bad look, okay, we can say that. Then we would say that obviously Devin Haney fighting Ryan Garcia now, if he's coming off of mental health issues, that's probably a bad look too. Just like you'd have to say Canelo Alvarez trying to fight Charlo is also a bad look. See, that's when you're being consistent. When you point out that fighting anybody in this situation is probably not the best, right? But as far as the boxers are concerned, if you have a contract and you're being offered millions and millions of dollars, it's not your job to worry about somebody else's mental health issues. He has a team around him and people that are supposed to be worrying about that. And I think John should understand that because I'm sure his wife is worried about his mental health issues every fucking day. But let's just listen to him then go on to blatantly lie about me, which is consistently what he does. This is a guy who accuses me of doing something that he consistently does, right? I did not have to go look for John's channel because it hasn't changed. He got my channel closed. So he literally had to go looking for my channel to respond to videos and respond to things that I've said in videos. which he consistently has done, right? But let's listen. You probably can't even hear it, so you know, I shouldn't be getting in trouble for stealing John's content. But ironically enough, this is John being a hypocrite again, because he consistently uses my name, consistently makes videos based on my content as well. Yet, when I pointed out his hypocrisy with the whole annuity situation, then obviously we saw his result, right? People just can't give. They can't take, they can give. But, you know, it just shows you the weak generation of people we live with, right? And that's another reason why I don't talk about mental health, because I think it's a product of this generation. Somebody showed me a meme, and it was showing kids from the 80s, kids from the 90s, and kids from the 2000s, and they all walked into a wall. And then just the extreme change of reaction to somebody bumping into a wall, somebody being, ah, shit, somebody falling on the ground going, oh, and then of course the people in 2000 falling on the ground, grabbing their balls, rolling around like somebody shot them. That's the generation John comes from, right? Where he needs to overreact to everything and act like somebody kicked him in the balls when all they did was tap him on the shoulder and say, excuse me, can you move out of the way?
With his message about the black fighter. Now, he believes that the black American fighter has always been at the bottom. He even believes.
So I believe that the black American fighter has always been at the bottom. I don't think I've ever said that in my entire life. But of course, this is John and the lies that he continues to portray on his channel. Literally, I don't know how many times I've said that the two fighters that got me into boxing were Ali and Leonard, and all the black fighters and black athletes that I supported my whole life. So I don't recall ever saying that black athletes were at the bottom, or specifically black boxers were at the bottom. I don't think that's ever come out of my mouth.
That the black American fighter are not competition to non-black fighters.
That black American fighters are not competition to non-black American fighters. I also have never said that. It's the opposite. John makes it out that black American fighters currently, this generation's black American fighters, are so dominant that they dominate the sport of boxing. Yet the numbers show you that that's not the case. This is not 1970 or 1980 anymore. The amount of black American fighters that dominate the sport is far less than it was then. Why? Well, because boxing has become global, and we have a lot more fighters that are in the game now. Before, America was the mecca of boxing. But now, around the world, there's big hotspots for the sport of boxing. Currently, Japan has 9 world champions. 9. I mean, black Americans have 10. So that gives you some context about how nobody's dominating the sport of boxing right now. It's pretty fairly split between Caucasians, Asians, Latinos, and blacks, right? Pretty much down the middle, you'll find is probably about 12, 12, 12, and 12, more or less, for champions that are in the sport of boxing. I think that is a testament to boxing. But of course, John, who always wants to make things about race, thinks that this is somehow criticism towards black Americans. Yet, when you're praising guys like Shakur Stevenson and Boots Ennis as potential perennial pound-for-pound top 1 fighters that are going to be dominating the pound-for-pound list for the next 10 years, how am I saying that black American fighters aren't competitive with everybody else, right? And even the video that he criticized me in with Ford, when I said that I see Ford potentially winning the fight based on being able to control the distance and using his jab. He surprised everyone with what he did. But I wasn't critical of Ford. I was just trying to break down stylistically how I thought the fight may unfold, and based on their two styles, how they were going to need to fight to be successful, both him and his opponent. So there was no criticism towards Ford. It was just a breakdown, a boxing breakdown.
This has always been his narrative about the black American fighter.
So that was always my narrative about the Black American fighter. Actually, it's never been my narrative about the Black American fighter. The irony is, my channel was first created because of Floyd Mayweather fanboys. Not specifically black, just Floyd Mayweather fanboys, who literally used race as a way to criticize anyone that didn't support Floyd, even when they weren't black. There was a lot of non-black people that supported Floyd Mayweather. But yet people would come on your channels, they'd get your channels closed down because you supported an Asian fighter, as if somehow that makes you racist to support another visible minority, right? And based on that, this is why my channel started. And of course, we've seen how the whole YouTube situation has become really even more racially charged. And the irony is, most of the negativity coming on YouTube is Black American YouTubers attacking other Black American YouTubers, right? Whether it's Spence fans attacking Crawford fans, or Tank Davis fans attacking Devin Haney fans, or Deontay Wilder fans attacking Anthony Joshua fans, and vice versa. Obviously, with that, there's a bit of a country situation involved, but it's still two black fighters. And that's primarily where most of the negativity has arose over the last, I don't know, 10 years. Maybe not quite that long. 5, 6, 7. Time flies with COVID, so it's hard for me to remember how long this period has been.
Wants the public to believe that every other fighter is performing but the Black American fighter. He wants the public.
So I want the public to believe everybody's performing except the Black American fighter. Yet when I praise Bud Crawford, who's number one on my pound for pound list, I'm only using Bud Crawford to hate on PBC and Errol Spence. Right? So it doesn't matter when I support Black American fighters or just black fighters in general. A guy like him is going to somehow twist it. I've supported AJ from day one, and I still do. I know he's not American, but he's black, right? I've supported Bud Crawford consistently, just because I was critical of people like him that tried to shoehorn Bud Crawford into the pound for pound list when he was at 140, coming off of an Ndongo win. That had nothing to do with Crawford. It had to do with racially charged YouTubers. And that's always been the same situation. But, you know, you can't explain these things to a guy like John, who just seems racism everywhere. Every corner, every bush, behind every door, there's a racist and somebody that's out to get him and his people. That's the veil that John looks through. How do you talk to a person that is so deluded?
To believe that throughout the history of the sport of boxing, the Black American fighter has never been at the top. That has been his.
Throughout the history of the sport of boxing, the Black American has never been at the top. Actually, I've never, ever, ever made that statement, ever, ever. When literally I say the two best fighters in history are Sugar Ray Robinson and Muhammad Ali, both black. When I praise the best Canadian fighter of all time, also black. When I talk about all the fighters that got me into the sport, majority of whom were black. So I don't really know what John's talking about. The only thing I've pointed out is people like John who want to give every non-black, want to only praise black fighters, as if during this whole period of time there was no non-black fighters that were Hall of Famers, pound for pound, and dominant fighters, because there's a long list of them, right? And if you want to look at that, you can see that even when black Americans were dominating, there was actually other fighters there dominating as well. But yet John doesn't want to give credit to anyone that isn't black. And he only wants people to give credit to people that are black. And he does that now. He doesn't know anything about history, so he refers to history, but he couldn't tell you fucking 10 fighters from the history of boxing. So, you know, we know he's capping, talking out his ass, as usual.
Narrative since he's been on YouTube, and he's having a difficult time with pushing out that narrative because nobody believes it. Everybody.
I'm not having a hard time pushing anything. The one person that has a hard time is John. He's trying to push all these unproven black fighters who aren't getting recognition because at this point they haven't done anything worth getting recognition. And when you go look at the viewership of those videos, when he does that, not even 100 people watch those videos, telling you everything you need to know. The people that support his channel want controversy, want racial narratives being pushed, the same as the people he supports, the LDBCs and the other people, the Bruce Vanes, right? The only thing that keeps these guys going is consistently making it about race. When John just talks about young up-and-coming black fighters and tries to highlight them, none of the people who support his channel watch his videos because they don't care about those fighters either. Unless it's under the guise of a racial narrative, they're not going to listen, right? So, we see who has a hard time, him. Most of the videos I put out recently, everything is doing over 400 views for the most part, except for a few videos that are also specific, and obviously people don't attach to specific topics like that. But my views are higher than his, and my channel only has 280 fucking subscribers right now, right? Because he closed my channel. Yet I'm still doing more views than he's doing. But I'm struggling. If I'm struggling, I don't know what John's going through.
Knows that what he says about the black American fighter is all BS.
Actually, I don't say too much about the black American fighter in a negative way. It's mostly the black American fanboy who wants to only identify black Americans, praise black Americans, and then look for ways to discredit and downplay everybody that's not black American, right? John's favorite boxer was Inouye until he realized that he had to push racial narratives and he couldn't support a Japanese fighter. So then he came out to try to find ways to discredit his favorite fighter, a Japanese fighter, saying that he was just chasing belts. He never said that about Bud Crawford, who became a two-weight undisputed champion, but he said that about Inouye. Again, a hypocrite. Hypocrisy at its finest.
BS. The truth is not hard fun. It's not hard fun. Actually, the truth is one click away. You have access to your computer or your phone. And this is why people are
Yeah, and if you click your phone, you will find out that right now, black Americans are not dominating the sport. Of course, they're involved and they have a lot of great fighters, but there's not a domination. That's why when people make pound for pound lists, often you'll see 2, maybe 3 black American fighters on the pound for pound list. And then guys like John and others accuse those people or attack these people for being racist. No, they just watch more boxing than you do. They just have a better understanding of the sport globally than you do. You only focus on American-centric, PBC-based fighters. And because of that, you have 7 or 8 fighters that are black Americans on your pound for pound list, even though there's easy reasons to not put them on those lists because they haven't done what they need to do to be on the list. They're not fulfilling their potential, right? They're not doing what boxing fans want them to do, right? They're not fighting unification fights. They're not becoming unified champions, right? The people that are doing that are getting attention and praise for doing it. Well, from most people.
saying that his narrative about the black American fighter is BS. But I want to talk about Jamal Charlo.
The funny thing about this is he comes out here and spends the first 2 minutes of his video making it about race and attacking me for race. Yet he's the one that's showing a hypocrisy towards race because he's the one that has 2 people on his screen right now, a Latino American and a black American, both who recently have went through mental health issues. We just saw Charlo go on a podcast recently, drunk and fucking stoned, talking to the head guy. He was supposed to do an interview with him, and he was demanding money, right? And saying that, he wanted to get paid to go on this guy's podcast, and he was drunk, fucking slurring, not making sense, really looking ridiculous. And then, of course, you had Ryan Garcia and whatever the fuck has happened over the last few days with him, which I've tried not to even listen to because it just is ridiculous. Right? Both of them literally fucking going mental on social media for the world to see. Right? And we've seen people make this statement. Someone needs to take Charlo's phone. Someone needs to take Ryan Garcia's phone. Just like before, we used to see people say that about Donald Trump. Someone needs to take Donald Trump's phone. Because these dudes just tweet and fucking comment too much on social media, and it's making them look ridiculous. In those cases, mental. But when you're going to go and defend Charlo, but then criticize Ryan Garcia, like he literally defended Charlo and attacked me because I said the WBC should make Charlo champion in recess and allow Carlos Adames the opportunity to fight for that title, since Charlo is not willing or able to defend the title. And somehow that was me being racist, hating on Charlo. Yet I say this about anybody who's inactive in the sport and holding up the belts. So there's no racial connotation to it at all. The point is, if you're not going to fight and defend your title, the WBC should allow Adames the opportunity to fight for it. It's not going to hurt you. You're the champion in recess. When you get back to your full health, you can come back and fight him for your title and reclaim it. Isn't that fair? Doesn't that make sense? Not to him, because he sees anybody pointing out common sense about Charlo as attacking him. Yet he literally is attacking fucking Ryan Garcia.
Since he wants to bring them up. Now,
I don't want to bring him up. You made the video shitting on Ryan Garcia. I just pointed out your fucking blatant hypocrisy. That's it. And now you're going to go on for the next 3 minutes trying to justify your hypocrisy. But there's no justification for criticizing one man for mental health issues while man defending another man for mental health issues just because he looks like you.
he brought up Jamal Charlo because he didn't like what I said about Ryan Garcia.
No. Had nothing to do with me not liking what you said about Ryan Garcia. Everybody on social media and YouTube is ripping the fuck out of Ryan Garcia. Literally everybody. So I don't care. My point was pointing your hypocrisy. The fact that you literally made a video defending Charlo, and then you literally made a video roasting fucking Ryan Garcia. Why the different opinion? Well, because Ryan Garcia is not black. Right? You're a racist. And this shows it blatantly.
He is a Ryan Garcia fan. But he's
So I'm a Ryan Garcia fan. That's why I'm criticizing him for being a hypocrite. Even though I've never said one thing to any other channel who made a video shitting all over Ryan Garcia. Even though I pointed out what Ryan Garcia is going through is fucking ridiculous. Ridiculous. Like, I haven't even tried to look for it because I just don't even want to listen to it. Right? And that's why I made a video literally talking about how I hope he pulls out of the fight. So Devin Haney fights Barboza. Even though at the same time I did point out that it'd be unfair for Devin Haney because he'd be losing a lot of money and an opportunity to do a huge pay-per-view if Ryan Garcia was mentally healthy. But that sounds like I'm defending Ryan Garcia? Really? Okay.
not a Jamal Charlo fan. Mind you, this guy rooted for Ryan Garcia to beat Gervonta Davis. And he's rooting for Ryan.
I rooted for Ryan Garcia to beat Gervonta Davis, even though my prediction was that Gervonta Davis was going to knock him out. And now he says, I'm rooting for Ryan Garcia to beat Devin Haney, even though I've made multiple videos pointing out that I think Devin Haney is easily going to outbox Ryan Garcia. I do say that obviously he's dangerous because of his speed and power. That's true. And I compared him to Deontay Wilder. A guy like him, if he lands one punch, it could change everything. But skill wise, he's not on the same level as Devin Haney. How is that me defending Ryan Garcia or fanboying for Ryan Garcia? Literally, I said this was a great opportunity for Devin Haney to do a huge pay per view. Does that sound like I'm hating on Devin Haney and fanboying for Ryan Garcia? Not at all. But John doesn't listen to truth. He just perpetuates lies and racial narratives consistently.
To be deaf, okay? My thing about Ryan Garcia is that I don't buy into this whole mental crap when it comes to Ryan Garcia. I think that what Ryan Garcia is doing now.
That's the point. You don't buy into all this mental crap when it's involving a non-black fighter like a Ryan Garcia or a Tyson Fury. But when it's a black gymnast, a black tennis player, Broner, Charlo, notice all of them are black and American. So whenever it's a black American who's going through mental health issues, then you do support it. It's only when they're not black American when you don't support it. Me, I try not to fucking talk about it or worry about it regardless of who they are. Because all I care about is the fights being made. If you're mental and having mental health issues, then you obviously shouldn't be in the ring. And so fights aren't going to be made. So then I'm not interested in you anymore. I'm interested in what's coming next.
Is part of his game plan to distract Devin Haney. And if it's not one of his game plan, I think it is a built-in excuse for him to fall back on when Devin Haney beats him.
Does Ryan Garcia need an excuse if he gets beat by Devin Haney? So he stepped up, faced Tank Davis, and then faced Devin Haney. Two fighters that are considered pound for pound top 10. Probably will make over $50 million combined with those two fights. Over. Could make maybe upwards to 75 million, I guess, depending on how successful the pay-per-views are. You think this guy really is worried about that? He could lose to Devin Haney, retire, just be a social media personality, never box again, and financially never have to worry about fucking anything. And nobody's really going to hold him against him that he lost to Devin Haney and Tank Davis, because at least he fought Devin Haney and Tank Davis. Something that 95% of the boxers in the sport are never going to do. Literally never fight two fighters in the pound for pound top 10.
Now, mind you, this anti-black boxing fan is going to fall back on the same excuse that Ryan will fall back on when Devin beats him. That's all what I talk.
So I'm going to use an excuse that Ryan Garcia has mental health issues and why Devin Haney beat him, even though I said Devin Haney was going to beat him before any of these mental health issues happened. But this is the same guy that said, oh, the only reason Canelo Alvarez is picking Charlo is because mentally he's not fulfilled right now. Literally, he's making excuses and then accusing me of doing what he's already done, right? That's the funny thing. John literally came out with a video attacking Canelo for cherry picking a guy with mental health issues and not giving him credit for taking on that fighter. But yet, that's what I'm going to do. No. That's what you did. You did that. Your video's out there. We've seen your video. It's still up. People can go and check it out.
Now, he wants to bring up Jamal Charlo because he didn't like what I said about Ryan. Now, if he wants to bring up Jamal Charlo.
No, I'm bringing up Charlo because they're both going through a similar situation and you defended one and then criticized the other, showing your hypocrisy. See, you don't have to be fucking the smartest fucking person around to see the hypocrisy in this. But for John, it just goes over his head because, well, you know, he's on the same meds as fucking Ryan Garcia and Charlo.
And say, hey, you didn't say the same thing about Jamal Charlo. Fine. Let me break this down so where you can understand why
don't need to break down why you believe Ryan Garcia and why you, why you don't believe Ryan Garcia and why you do believe fucking Charlo. The reality of the situation is this is not the first time Ryan Garcia has went through a mental health issue, right? Just like Adrian Broner, who had multiple situations. With Charlo, this has just been one situation. It's extended, but still only one, right? So why are you questioning anybody's fucking sincerity with mental health issues? This is the same guy that criticized Lomachenko for going back to the Ukraine to support his country in a war against Russia. It shows you the mentality of him, right? If this was a black guy doing it, and we saw with Jamal Herring how he praised Jamal Herring for fucking, representing his country in the military. So you will hype up Jamal Herring, the black American guy, for going and joining the military to support America, but you won't do that for Lomachenko. You will find a way to somehow downplay and criticize him for that. Yet you don't need to hype him up. You don't need to criticize him. If you don't buy into it, just fucking don't talk about it. But again, you show your hypocrisy based on skin color, showing that you're a fucking racist, right? Blatantly.
Between Ryan and Jamal is that Ryan is active, Jamal was inactive.
Oh, the difference is Ryan is active and Jamal is inactive. Yet Jamal just fucking fought Jose Benavidez. What do you mean he's fucking inactive? And now there's a conversation about him fighting Canelo Alvarez, coming off of a fight against Jose Benavidez. He literally just fought Jose Benavidez. So what do you mean inactive? So, Ryan Garcia's last fight was against Oscar Duarte. You didn't see any mental health issues then. Well, Charlo's last fight was against Jose Benavidez. You didn't see any mental health issues then either. But both of them, since those fights, have both shown mental health issues through social media. Both of them. Right? Like, you can't defend it because you're a fucking racist hypocrite. That's just the truth.
Hear anything about Ryan Garcia's mental state? Not at all. Not at all. But when he's now fighting Devin, he has a mental breakdown, which makes absolutely no sense at all. And the reason why it doesn't make
So it makes no sense when the guy's in a really pressured fight with all media looking at him, a lot of pressure and emphasis on it, the same way as Charlo in a Canelo Alvarez fight, right? Same situation. That mental health issues wouldn't arise based on the pressure and expectations and just everything involved with a fight of that magnitude. Really. Like, I would think if you spoke to anyone in the mental health field, the opposite would be true towards both of them. Which is why people don't want Charlo to fight Canelo. But those same people are looking forward to Devin Haney beating up Ryan Garcia. Okay, so I mean, there's your hypocrisy.
because he hasn't pulled out of the Devin Haney fight. If what's going on with Ryan Garcia is serious, then why is Ryan still scheduled to fight Devin? Devin already has a replacement.
So if what's going on with Ryan is really serious, how come he hasn't pulled out? There's a contract in place. Who knows what that contract says? Who knows what kind of penalties or situations will come up? Who knows what happens when somebody is going through mental health issues, the decisions they make? I literally had a girl that worked with me, right? And this is a true story. She literally went through a mental collapse over probably a 3-month period, right? And of course, it was so gradual, you didn't really notice because it's not as if it was crazy, over the top type of things that she was doing. First of all, it was just weird statements that she made when she was sitting beside me in the office. And then after the fact, looking at her discussion book in her classroom and just the crazy fucking writings that she was putting on the book, which just showed her deterioration, you know, fall into madness. And then, of course, I went to Canada for Christmas, and at that time, things really amped up. She was drinking, smoking a lot of weed, and obviously that did not help and only sort of sped up everything. So when I came back, she was literally in the mental ward in the hospital. And us being co-workers, we were going there, bringing her food, supporting her, hanging out, because Taiwan, if you don't have family, you're kind of alone. So that wouldn't be the kind of situation anybody would want to go through. We had to contact her family. Her brother came, got her, brought her back to Canada. And so, you know, who knows the decisions people make? Apparently John does, because this is what's dictating his negativity towards Ryan Garcia, even though we've seen that from him before towards Fury and Ryan Garcia previously, where he didn't believe or give them credence for their claims. Yet he didn't feel the same way about Broner, about Charlo, you know.
Lined up. And I think the replacement fighter is better than Ryan Garcia. Arnold Barboza is a damn good fighter. I don't think anybody.
Now he's just capping off of me with Arnold Barboza being a better opponent than Ryan Garcia. Yeah, he's a better opponent, but it ain't going to sell pay-per-views. So Devin Haney's going to lose a lot of money and a big opportunity. So, you know, he's praying that Ryan Garcia fucking makes that fight.
It would be bad if Arnold Barboza were to step in, which will make it easier for Ryan to pull out of the fight if he's not all right. What Ryan Garcia has been doing as of lately is showing the public that he's not okay. And if he's not okay, then why is he still scheduled to fight Devin? This is why I don't believe it.
Yeah, that's why you don't believe it. See, again, John just trying to defend his hypocrisy, which is based strictly on race. If these fighters were opposite colors, he would be criticizing Charlo and would be praising and defending Ryan Garcia, right? If Wilder was white, he would have been criticizing Wilder for cherry picking fucking Tyson Fury coming off of mental health issues. We know how it goes. John is too easy to read. But it is what it is. Leave your comments below. What do you think about this take, as you would say? Thanks for watching. Enjoy the fights tonight. If you're around, jump onto my live. I think I'll be live. I hope I'll be live. I'll see if I can wake up. See you then. Peace out.